So, Richard, the American Religious Identification Survey is probably the most comprehensive study of religious demographics in the United States. And it's interesting to note that this particular study that's just been run again confirms that only 1.6% of the American population actually identifies as atheists. But
Still a pretty big number.
it is actually, when you consider how many people live in the United States, 1.6 is not a small percentage. But it's interesting to note that Americans who are Mormon are only 1.4% of the population.
Wow.
Jewish people are only 1.2% of the population. Muslims are only 0.6% of the population. So actually, the numbers are not non-significant. But the thing, this sort of harkens back to what we had been talking about a couple weeks ago with the survey that was done in Ireland,
Right.
with how much their atheist numbers have jumped. When you look at the people in the United States who actually claim no belief in God, or they claim no particular religion, it actually is more like 18.4% of Americans have no affiliation and no stated belief or stated
So it kind of would include
they don't believe anything.
the
Yeah.
agnostics and things of that
Right,
nature.
agnostics, or people who, in fact, are probably atheists. They're just sort of afraid of using the word due to the stigma. Reports came out this year, or I should say 2011 actually, where atheists were, in the survey, atheists were listed to be as trustworthy as rapists.
Right.
Or the KKK was a more liked group than atheists among the majority of Americans. So, I mean, there's definitely a social stigma of being an atheist in a country where roughly 81% of the people proclaim some kind of belief in a god.
That's still really high compared to like most European countries.
Yeah, I don't think that most people would realize that there's more atheists than there are Mormons. You
Yeah,
know,
certainly I wouldn't.
And especially when you consider that what we've seen this year, that despite the fact that the Mormon Church claims 14 million members, only 5 million of those people are actually active members. So that sort of skews the numbers even further. But kind of in a related little piece that I found, the University of Chicago reported on April 18th, they just published a study called Belief About God Across Time and Countries. And they found that belief in God is actually higher in older people, regardless of what country they live in. And across the entire planet, on average, 43% of people 68 and older believe that God exists, where across the planet, only 23% of people 27 and younger believe that God exists.
Wow.
That God definitely exists. So, now, the numbers are different in the United States, as you would expect, because
Right.
we're one of the most religious countries in the world. But I actually think this is going to be perhaps a little dark, but weirdly optimistic. The report said that 54% of Americans younger than 28 said they were certain of God's existence. So 54%, that would still be a majority of people younger than 28. But 66% of people 68 and older said that they believe that God exists. Now this is interesting to me because the average lifespan in the United States currently is 78.1 years.
Okay.
So, in, let's say, roughly 10 years, when those people 68 or older are largely dead and gone as a demographic,
Right.
the United States is going to look like a much different place, religiously speaking. If those numbers hold, and those 68, the people 68 or older are gone, and the present numbers of belief and disbelief hold, the lobbying power of the Christian right in this country is going to be really eroded. And then think, what will it look like 10 years after that?
Well, there's actually something interesting about that, because I read an article, I don't have it here with us, but I just read an article that was discussing actually how more people basically opt in to the belief of very similar to this, opt into the belief of God as they get older. So like it was a study about.
This study actually mentioned that as well.
Yeah, as people get to closer to dying, they actually do start to maybe think maybe their like atheist or agnostic ways aren't good, and they a little bit of fear of death comes into play, and then you have people going to the religion in that sense. So I would be curious to see more like in 60 years what that trend of how many people closer to their like as they see death coming on the horizon. Do we still have people seeking that out, or do we have enough kind of hard atheists or hard non-believers these days?
The University of Chicago study actually noted that the findings suggest that the belief in God is very much influenced by anticipation of your own mortality. Which is not really a great reason to say that something is true,
well, no.
but I mean it makes sense. I mean, humans don't want to die, so I mean, as we have to face that reality, we try to find a loophole.
Yeah.
So and I'm not mocking people who are approaching death and are fearful of it. It's easy for us as younger men to laugh or mock the idea of whatever death and just be cavalier about it.
Right.
But I do think it's interesting. The tide seems to be turning. Education and people having discussion and information being more widely available is actually starting to turn the corner, I think, and I think that we're gonna see something positive come from basically the erosion of the religious right in this country, and people are going to have to actually start dealing with each other on non-religious terms because they're not going to be the majority anymore. I mean, it's exciting to me in a way to think of what is the demographic of the country going to be like when I'm 40 in another 9 years.
Right.
So it's really interesting to me. So more as it develops.
Yeah, starting to see a lot of it.
Outcasts out.